Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have only been out for a few days, and there are already some Pokemon that have been banned. Houndstone has been banned because of its move Last Respects. Flutter Mane, the ghost fairy that resembles Mischievous, has been banned as well because of its combination of strong stab moves and high speed. And even Dunsparce has been banned because it's deemed too strong in the tier that it's allowed in. So let's take a closer look at these bans and why they happen in competitive Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So we have to start with the funniest ban in competitive Pokemon history. This has to be it, right? Dunsparce got banned from Little Cup. For those that don't know what Little Cup is, basically it's a tier where people play with level 5 baby Pokemon. I'm talking your Charmanders, your Squirtles, your Quaxleys, etc. So this Pokemon, Dunsparce, was deemed too strong in the Little Cup tier. I'm sorry. It's just, you ask me when 10, 15 years ago, whatever, how long ago Dunsparce came out, even longer than that, that Dunsparce would be considered a broken Pokemon in any metagame, I would laugh harder than I am right now. But the thing about Dunsparce is there's a little bit of backstory as to why this Pokemon got banned. So Little Cup previously banned Moody, which is the ability that raises your stats randomly and lowers your stats randomly, right? They previously banned Murkrow and Meditite. Now Meditite, extremely powerful Pokemon, has pure power, so it doubles its attack stat, right? Has really strong physical moves, fighting moves as well. And this was apparently keeping a Pokemon like Dunsparce in check. And the only reason Dunsparce is even in this tier right now is because we got Dunsparce, the new. I'm sorry, I'm having a good time. We got new Dunsparce, We got new Dunsparce, which is basically old Dunsparce. They're not even here. It's not even showing it off here, right? Yeah, new Dunsparce is basically Dunsparce 3 segment. Yeah, it's basically Dunsparce with a little more stomach. So, because that is technically the evolution, not technically, it is the evolution of Dunsparce. Dunsparce is now a baby and it's allowed in this tier. Also, before we go any further, if you do enjoy these, keeping you up to date with the metagame type things, Pokemon movesets, Showdown Lives, Wi-Fi battles, other stuff, consider subscribing. I'm on the way to 400k. And also, if you want to pick up Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I do have a Best Buy affiliate link down below. Buying anything via those links does help me out. But the fact that Dunsparce is deemed broken because of it being bulky with Eviolite, or Violite, however you want to say it, which gives it a 1.5 times defense and special defense boost. It has Coil to boost its accuracy, defense, and on top of that it has Glare. And Glare is pretty big because it allows you to paralyze faster targets, slow them down. And it has Serene Grace, right? So Serene Grace with Headbutt. Headbutt is its stab move, has a 30% chance to flinch the opponent. You couple that with Serene Grace, that is a 60% chance to flinch the opponent. You couple that with the opponent being paralyzed, it's even higher. The odds are higher for your opponent to flinch than not to flinch. I know people are like, oh man, that's flinch luck. But in this situation, like in this case, it's actually luckier that the opponent breaks through than Dunsparce flinches them. It's insane. Not to mention, you might be thinking, okay, well, Headbutt isn't that strong. Boom, Terastallizing. So Terastallizing, if you Terastallize normal, you, instead of getting a 1.5 times stab boost, because same type attack boost, Pokemon get stab boost. So fire type Pokemon, fire moves are stronger. Water type Pokemon, water moves are stronger. If you Terastallize to your same type, so normal Dunsparce Terastallizes to normal Dunsparce, it has a 2 times boost instead of a 1.5 times boost. And you might be thinking, well, maybe Ghost can wall this thing. True, if you run this set, but why did it disconnect me randomly? But you can also run Bite, and Bite allows you to not only deal with ghost types but also have a 60% chance to flinch the ghost types. I'm actually it's so funny to see that Dunsparce got banned. This is pretty huge for the metagame of Little Cup too, because I'll read exactly what they say, but while initial assessments of Dunsparce would not indicate it being so high on the ban docket, Dunsparce has become entirely strong. What? When would you ever hear that sentence? As soon as Meditite was no longer around to Oko the state line, and its handful of ways to flinch through your checks became not only frustrating, but absurdly difficult to deal with. With boosting and coil, paralysis with Glare, or Serene Grace Body Slam, which you'd even want to even talk about that, frankly insane bulk, and just enough coverage in Bite or Earthquake, Dunsparce would often run away with games despite facing the best, though limited counterplay available. So, little Dunsparce has been blown away from Little Cup. I just find that so incredibly funny. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more, I don't want to say serious. Little Cup is his own tier in its own right, and I like Little Cup a lot. But now we're looking at OU. These Pokemon got banned recently. There was a lot of Pokemon that were slated. I have a whole video if you guys want to check that out. I'll link that down below where I talk about the Pokemon that are on the radar to be banned, but these Pokemon actually did get banned in 6v6 OU. So in Pokemon Showdown, Smogon OU, whatever you want to call it, right? So you can still technically use them in your game, and I'll still be using them in Wi-Fi battles because I want to have fun and use whatever I want. But Flutter Mane got banned and Houndstone got banned. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about Houndstone first before I talk about Flutter Mane. Now, Houndstone got banned literally because of this move, Last Respects. The way Last Respects work is it starts at 50 base power, and every single time, or whatever ally you have that's fainted, so for every fainted party member, it goes up by 50. So if you have 2 Pokemon that fainted, this is now 150 base power physical ghost move, right? On top of that, to help deal with its pretty okay speed, but really below average, honestly, at base 68, it has Sand Rush, which doubles its speed stat, allowing it to hit 470 speed with an adamant nature. So you're faster than a lot of your opponents, and unless they're a normal type, they are going to almost always be knocked out by Last Respects if you have teams that have Pokemon down. And some teams were made with like Memento and stuff to actually sacrifice themselves to allow Houndstone to be stronger. I'll read what they have to say about it in a bit. Now, this wasn't even the only good set. I have a whole video as well, and I'll link these down below because if you guys want to see these Pokemon in action, this one for Flutter Mane and Houndstone, I'll link it down below. This wasn't the only good set for Houndstone, right? And obviously you could terrestrialize. You might be thinking, well, dark types get taken. Not really. Dark types, when you're up to almost 300 base power with Last Respects, dark types are dying. But it also has the Fluffy ability, which means that it could make use of this particular set too, which was Body Press to hit the dark types like Tyranitar and King Gambit, Substitute, and Shadow Sneak, and you could even use it with Terra type Normal. And what Terra type Normal would do is, like, if you come in on Flutter Mane's faster than you, especially with a speed boost, it's still faster than you outside of even in Sand. It can outspeed you and knock you out with Shadow Ball, but if you terrestrialize to a normal type, you're immune to that, and then you can knock it out with Last Respects, or depending on, this is usually leftovers, depending on how much damage it's already taken, you can knock it out with Priority Shadow Sneak. Now, this Pokemon was banned because of this move specifically. And you might be saying, well, why was the Pokemon banned and not just the move? And just for you to understand, Last Respects, this is the only Pokemon that has this move. The only other Pokemon that has this move is not currently released. It comes out with Pokemon Home, and that's Basculegion. And obviously, on an adaptability and a Swift Swim Pokemon, with already more speed, more HP, more stats in general, it's going to be even more broken. But why was it not banned? And I'll read what they have to say, and then I'll tell you if I agree with that or not. We'll look at literally this paragraph. This is a great question that turned into a cause for a good amount of internal debate, so I just wanted to fully transparent on the matter. Right now, Houndstone is the only legal Pokemon with Last Respects. You cannot alienate a singular move as being banned where if only a single Pokemon learns it. The necessary burden of proof for banning a move would be it directly causing multiple Pokemon to be ban-worthy. Upon release of Pokemon Home, another Pokemon is speculated to gain access to Last Respects while also being potentially strong. This is true. It's very plausible that we can look into an outcome where Last Respects is just banned from OU as a move so that Pokemon are allowed, thus minimizing collateral. For now, we have to keep the ban at just Houndstone after talking with tiering administration. So, all right. First off, Finchinator, the person who posted this, even said they just wanted to ban the move, but it was the admins that said, no, we have to ban the Pokemon. I'm sorry, but this is clearly wrong, right? Like, I wonder if it is the Pokemon with 488 BST or 480 BST, whatever it is, or the move that can go up to 300 base power that is clearly broken. However, I mean, yeah, obviously. I don't know why I said however. I was just coming back into it. On their original post, which was on the radar, and again, I'm not blaming Finchinator for this because I know exactly how he feels. He wanted Last Respects banned, and it was an admin that the admins pulled it over him, right? On this post itself, on the radar, which is all these Pokemon that we're talking about being banned, and only Flutter Mane and the dog, Houndstone, got banned, it clearly says right here, when it comes to Houndstone, it looks like a fairly pedestrian Pokemon that would not even grace the OU viability rankings, let alone be a part of the tiering radar on day one. Then more information about signature move Last Respects came out. In this sentence alone, with this BST alone, it is very clear that they acknowledge and they see that this Pokemon is not broken at all. Right? It's not the Pokemon at all. It is clearly the move. I think it should have been the move. I understand, quote unquote, why they, or well, I mean, I adhere to what happened, right? I don't necessarily think it's true. I don't think it actually does lead to a slippery slope. Just ban the move, keep the Pokemon, right? Obviously, I think Houndstone could be pretty cool in lower tiers as well. It just says you cannot alienate a single move as being banned if only a single Pokemon learns it. And then the previous sentence on the original thread says the exact opposite. I just think this is a whole, like, just ban the move, personally. That's what I think, right? And again, I'm not blaming Finchinator. I know that him specifically even said that he wanted the move banned, not the Pokemon. But the admins or above him made the call. What are your thoughts on that? I'm sure there'll be 500 comments on that. Now, Flutter Mane is basically Choice Specs Tapu Lele and Choice Specs Dragapult in one. 135 special attack, 135 special defense, 135 speed. Gets a speed boost from Booster Energy as well. Has photosynthesis, so it can actually a Sunny Day earn Booster Energy. Gets to 1.5. Though it is, if it is modest, it actually a 1.3. And this is a recent thing we just found out today that it's 1.3 on every other stat besides speed. So a Life Orb boost essentially. Has access to Calm Mind. Can Shadow Ball and Moonblast are there. Has Mind Games with Terastallizing Normal, where if you try and speed type, if you have a Choice Scarf one versus my Choice Specs one and I Terastallize Normal, you can't Shadow Ball me and it can knock me out. This mon is a lot harder to say that it was not broken, obviously. Yes, it does have 55 HP, 55 defense, and yes, you knock it out with physical priority, but switching into this mon, especially in the offensive metagame that we have, has Mystical Fire for the Corviknights. Not Trick. What was it? Oh, it has like Memento and Psychic and Psyshock for like Psyshock specifically for like special defensive Clogsire, which would take Moonblast and tank Shadow Balls for days. Psyshock easily two-shots that. This is a Pokemon that was a lot harder to switch into and basically had no switch-ins. I do think that it's a little bit early to be banning Pokemon, but if it means that we keep Terastallizing for longer, at least in the 6v6 one, I'm like, it's harder to argue that this Pokemon wasn't broken, period. Ignore the 55 HP, 55 defense. Yes, you can knock it out with Scissors Bullet Punch. Yes, King Gambit Sucker Punch will knock it out. Yes, Low Kick Sucker Punch will knock it out if it's Terastallized or your Choice Band or whatever. Yeah, but you got to get to that position first where if this Pokemon, which is faster than your Pokemon almost always, and hits you with a Shadow Ball or Moonblast off of a base 135 special attack, especially if Specs, it's hard to switch into it. It can be revenge killed. Any Pokemon can be revenge killed. But this one, harder to switch into. Let's see what they have to say about this. Flutter Mane arguing around is one of the most broken presents to ever grace an overused metagame in competitive Pokemon's lengthy history. I agree. The Fairy Ghost Behemoth joins a pantheon of quick ban recipients that made matters quite easy on decision makers. With unanimous council support through the aforementioned votes, Flutter Mane has unsurprisingly been dispatched to Ubers via quick ban. Ubers is the tier where you'll see Pokemon like Koraidon and cover legendaries and stuff that are just too good for like anything else. While surface level attributes such as elite combination of top tier special attacking and speed stats go a long way alone, this truly is what opens the door for Flutter Mane. It's just what opens the door. A dynamic stab, dual stab of Fairy and Ghost complements this offensive profile quite nicely, especially when you factor in the prospect of valuable coverage options such as Mystical Fire or Psyshock as well. Calm Mind can come into handy to function as a win condition, while moves like Substitute can also be scouting purposes as well. And then that's another one as well. Like you can't just Sucker Punch it because I can sub in front of that. And you combine that with its ability, it's pretty nasty. Like, I mean, this mon, I think it's still hard to argue that this mon wasn't insanely strong. And it's good. It was a good mon. But from this though, and from the original on the, do I have the on your radar? I have the on your radar here, right here. Let me go to it on the radar. From this, the only Pokemon that were banned were these two. These guys were voted not banned, but I'm pretty sure Palafin is something they are looking at next, and also Iron Bundle, the Delibird, basically, super clone. So, what are your thoughts? Dunsparce, hilarious. Houndstone, I don't like this, but whatever, right? What can I do? And then Flutter Mane was easily the one on this list that's like, okay, yeah, this mon is, this mon's really, really good and really hard to switch into. So let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.